Hey, what's up everybody? It's Kyle, and in this video, I want to give you an update on the second stimulus bill that was just passed by the House of Representatives. It's called the HEROES Act. Now, this could have a direct benefit to you, so you be sure to watch this video all the way to the end. But before we do go into it at all, I want you to do one thing for me. Smash the like button below. It helps with the YouTube algorithm, please. So just do that right now before we start. And also subscribe if you haven't done so already, as well as hit the notification bell so you'll get notifications every time I post a new video, which is pretty often these days. As well as follow me on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, follow me there. I post there pretty much daily, so you will get other aspects of my life as well. So now, let's go on to the HEROES Act. Okay, so before we go into what the details of the HEROES Act are, what is the HEROES Act? Let's find out what the HEROES Act is, what does it stand for, what's it all about. So the HEROES Act is the Health and Economic Recovery Omnibus Emergency Solutions Act. The Health and Economic Recovery Omnibus Emergency Solutions Act. I kind of feel like they just made up some things there to follow the acronym of the HEROES Act. Like they started at the HEROES Act first and then tried to figure out what words they could use to come up with that name. But anyway, that's just me. So that's what the HEROES Act stands for. So this bill just passed in the House. This bill passed on a vote of 209 to 199. One Republican crossed party lines to vote in favor for the bill, and 14 Democrats actually voted against the bill being passed. Okay, so let's just rewind a little bit. The HEROES Act was proposed on May 12th. It was proposed in the House, and it was to give an allocation of $1 trillion to state and local governments in support for their economic recovery, as well as $200 billion in hazard pay to frontline workers. Now, this included some federal workers as well, like IT people and people that had to be on the front lines throughout this pandemic. So the White House actually threatened to veto this bill on May 15th. Now, they were quoted by saying exactly, "It was more concerned with delivering a long-standing partisan and ideological wish list than with enhancing the ability of our nation to deal with the public and health and economic challenges we face." So provisions in this bill will provide for much needed care for healthcare workers, nurses on the front lines, poultry and meat inspectors, prison people, prison guards, and people that are on the front lines all the time. And it will provide much needed stimulus and economic help to them. So to go over again what this bill includes for the American people as it would apply to you, possibly, is that for individuals who make up to $75,000 a year, they would get a one-time $1,200 stimulus check. And for married couples that are filing jointly that make up to a combined income of $150,000, they would get $2,400. Now, this is the exact same pretty much as the CARES Act that was proposed and passed earlier this year. So there are a few key differences, however. The first one being that the maximum of 3 dependents would receive a full $1,200 stimulus check as well. This differed from the first CARES Act because the CARES Act did not allocate for adult dependents. That had a problem with college-age kids that were still considered dependents. This would directly give them a stimulus check of $1,200, as well as provide for any immigrants that do have a TIN, a taxpayer identification number. It would be approved for them as well. So another benefit of this HEROES Act would be that the 30,000 plus Americans that filed for unemployment, this would actually take them, the $600 benefit that the Fed was giving on top of the maximum unemployment. So just for instance, say in the state of New Jersey, the maximum unemployment you can receive is $700 a week. I believe that, yes, it's $700 a week, so that the $600 bonus would go on top of that. So the max you could get as an unemployed person, if you made up to the threshold, would be $1,300 a week on the unemployment with the federal bump. So this would extend that federal bump, which was supposed to end in July, I believe, to January of 2020. 2021, so this coming January. And also gig workers. So gig workers, independent contractors, freelance type people who are on an unemployment, they would be able to extend the unemployment they are eligible to receive up until March 2021, so just about a full year from now. So another thing concerning student loans is that the HEROES Act provides for a pause on student loans up until September of 2021. And also that there is a forgivable, in some cases, federal and private loans can be forgiven up to $10,000. Now, this is something worth looking into. It didn't really provide any more details other than saying that, but for up to $10,000 forgivable in some aspects for federal or private loans, that's something to definitely look into and keep your eye on. So concerning rental and mortgage assistance, the HEROES Act actually touches on this as well. Now, there hasn't been much in regards to assistance for rentals, and I know that me being a landlord of multiple rental properties, I was definitely worried about what the renters are going to do. And I know that in a lot of cases, since basically 1 in 5 people are unemployed right now, they could obviously pay with their unemployment benefits, but still, there's a lot of concern with people not being able to pay their rent, with losing jobs. So this actually provides for, there's a $100 billion rental assistance program providing with this HEROES Act. Now I'm going to read it exactly what it says and how it's going to be distributed. So this would be distributed through a nationwide grant of rental assistance program that would verify a tenant's inability to pay the rent, and it would give vouchers to cover the cost of rent and utilities. It would also extend the ban on evictions for non-payment for a year following the enactment date. So now on the flip side of that, this also provides for a $75 billion homeowner assistance program that for people that are not able to pay their mortgage. Now, this would possibly come into play with some landlords who are looking to pay their mortgage to the bank and their tenants cannot pay the rent. So this would be part of that assistance, I would hope, as well. And also, I would assume some primary residents that have lost their job and they can't afford to pay the mortgage payments anymore as well. So the HEROES Act actually covers hazard pay as well. Hazard pay would be for any essential workers that had to work throughout this crisis, and it would allocate for $13 on top of their normal pay. And what it would do, it would be capped out. So anyone making less than $200,000 per year, they would be able to receive a maximum of $25,000 extra in hazard pay. And anyone making over $200,000 per year would be able to receive a maximum of $5,000 extra in hazard pay. So I would assume it would just be tacked on to the $13 would be tacked on to their normal pay, and then it would cap at that certain amount when it would reach the limit. Okay, so what happens now? Well, now, since it was passed on Friday, this past Friday, in the House of Representatives, this bill gets pushed to Senate, and the Senate is controlled right now by the majority of Republicans. Unfortunately, Donald Trump has come out and said that the bill would be DOA when it arrived at the Senate, which means dead on arrival. And now, who knows what's going to happen? This is going to be voted on after the Memorial Day weekend. So we're coming up on the Memorial Day weekend. It's going to be voted on after that. Now, there is a possibility that some aspects of this bill that was proposed will go through and others may not. So that is one concern, that not all of the stipulations in the HEROES Act will be passed as is, but they may have to negotiate a little bit to be able to pass it. One thing that is pretty much agreed to right now, with the Democrats and the Republicans, is the stipulation for hazard pay. That is pretty much an agreement that people and essential workers that did have to work through this would receive some kind of extra pay, but not everything's clear, so we'll see what happens. And the vote is apparently going to happen after this Memorial Day weekend. So really, just guys, go out and relax and enjoy the rest of the week, hopefully, and enjoy Memorial Day weekend as much as possible, and then we will see what happens next week. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Again, if you have not done it, real quickly, I would appreciate it very greatly for providing all this information about the HEROES Act. Hit the like button. It would help with the YouTube algorithm, and I would thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. And subscribe if you have not done so already. I post here pretty much very often these days, now that we're still kind of social distancing. And hit the notification bell if you have not done that, because you will get notifications every time I post a new video. And guys, if you haven't seen any of my other videos, go check out my page. I pretty much post about upcoming news, breaking news, as well as financial and advice to try to create a lifestyle of following your dreams, following your passions, but also being financially educated and knowledgeable. So guys, thank you very much. If you're on Instagram, follow me on IG as well. I post there pretty much daily, so you will get other aspects of my life as well. Guys, thank you very much. Have a great day, and talk to you soon.